All right, so we are going to talk about some battery basics right now, and I'm talking the very fundamental things ranging from a tap off to marking time to sticks in and out. Going to try to cover quite a few things in this video tutorial. I've got two of our senior snare drummers, Preston and Adam, who are going to do some demonstrating. So they've already kind of submitted some videos and I'm going to use those. So the very first thing we talk about is a tap off. And what a tap off is it's just a way for us all to start together. And typically the center snare, or if it's just a sectional, it might be the center quad of that section, will tap off and give you 8 counts for you to know to begin the exercise. So here is Preston counting off 8 counts of a tap off. Right, and we would come in on beat 1 right there. All right, the next demonstration is Adam playing a triplet count off. Okay, so this is, if we were doing a triplet count exercise, the center player would use triplets to start us off. Okay, another variation of that might be that, much like my exercise recordings where they're all triplets and they play accents on 1, 3, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. So either of those are options for you to start the exercise. Now, the next thing is when to mark time and when to bring your sticks in and out. So in Preston's example, you're going to hear taps, 8th-note taps with accents on 1 and 3, and then in the next measure, that's when you would begin to move your feet, marking time. So let's take a listen. And you can see his body start to move on count 5, or in the second measure. All right, and same thing when we watch Adam's video. Okay, so we use that as a tool to help us keep pulse in our body, even though our hands are moving. So our hands might be moving 8th notes or triplets or 16ths, but our feet are always keeping track of where the quarter notes are. All right, so marking time, when we do that, we lift our whole foot off the ground, just an inch or two, and we kind of drive our feet into the ground so that we have a steady sense of pulse. All right, now sometimes people get lazy with it and they just move their heels, but the method that we use involves lifting your whole foot off the ground. Okay, so let's take a look at our next exercise and we can see some actual marking time. Right, so as he's doing that, his feet are always keeping track of where the quarter note is. All right, another thing that I wanted to address is when to bring sticks in and sticks out. So as we talked about during the tap off, the first measure, or 4 counts, is going to be just time that the solo player is letting us know that here's the pulse, here's the time, and then in the second measure is when we begin marking time. That's also where we're going to bring our sticks out. Okay, so you can, when we would start an exercise for the first time, you will have your sticks in. All right, we bring our sticks out on count 3 of the second measure of the tap off. So if we listen again. All right, and that's just the first time we would bring our sticks out. And then we would keep playing until you had some sort of instruction that it's the last time. And then we might bring our sticks in also on count 3. So when the exercise ends, bop, 2, 3. And we would bring our sticks back in. Sometimes we'd actually bring our sticks down. All right, but just in terms of when to bring your sticks up, when to bring your sticks out, the typical thing that we're going to get into is going to be beat 3 of the second measure of the count off. So you start marking time, then sticks out on 3. All right? All right, so in that video, Preston just demonstrated 4 counts of accented eighth notes and 4 counts of tap eighth notes, and then in the left hand. So when he did that, we saw what would be the equivalent of forte, or 12 inches, followed by piano, or 3 inches, right? I'm going to let it play again, and you can see that is the definition that we are looking for when we play. All right, if it's an exercise, it's timing or 8 on a hand, we would typically play with a 12-inch stroke. If it's accents and taps, we would play with 12 and followed by 3. So if you watch, you can kind of get a feel for that, the 12 and 3. Okay, so when we play that exercise, you can really see the heights and dynamics on full display. All right. Also, that gets us into talking about upstrokes and downstrokes. So an upstroke is when we let the stick rebound back up to like a 12-inch height, and a downstroke is when we lock the stick down and we don't let it come back up. So an upstroke is an example where you let the stick rebound back up to its full height, whereas a downstroke is something that stays down or doesn't rebound back up. All right. The next thing, the final thing we're going to talk about, so everybody understands, is a 4-2-1 exercise. So what a 4-2-1 exercise means is that we take the pattern, the original pattern. So I'm going to forward ahead here to Adam playing one-note timing. Okay, so in that exercise, there's a measure of 16th notes, and then a measure of right hands, a measure of 16th notes, and a measure of left hands. So when we see, if we take that and we think of that as the 4, then in 2, we would cut that in half, but we would do it 2 times. So now it's like almost like we're in 2-4, and you have 1E and a 2E and a 1 and 2 and 1E and a 2E and a E, and then we repeat it so that it evens out, right? We want every segment, the 4s, to be just as long as the 2s, to be just as long as the 1s, so we have to repeat them. So the 4s we do once, the 2s we do twice, and the 1s we do 4 times. So let's start Adam back over and take a listen and think of it in terms of 4-2-1. Now, occasionally we shorten the exercise on the 1s so that it doesn't just last forever, and we'll let you know when that is, okay? But for the most part, 4-2-1, we'll always kind of do the same way. So hopefully that clears up a lot of our basics and gives you a better idea of tap off, mark time, sticks in and out, heights and dynamics, upstroke, downstroke, and the 4-2-1 exercise.